This man, not only is he NBA insider, Chris Haynes, he's owner of Charlene's Beauty Supply here in Elk Grove with his beautiful wife, Chris Haynes.
Yes, indeed. This is the real Mr. Elk Grove, man. It ain't me. Don't listen to these people. This is the real Mr. Elk Grove right here, man.
Been there 2 years, real Mr. Elk Grove.
That's how it is.
It's all good. Hey, this is a good look, man. Y'all doing y'all thing. I'm proud of y'all, man.
That's
so
love, man.
when y'all told me y'all needed me, man.
That's love, man.
It was nothing.
No doubt, man. And
now, before we get started, I mean, we know he's NBA insider. We know he can hoop. Shout out to Coach Jones, Sac City. We know all that. Where your football alliances at?
Football, I've always been a player. I followed the player. Okay. Terrell Owens was first of all, Jerry Rice.
Got you.
That was my favorite player. When he retired, T.O. was the guy I followed. So I was a Niner fan. I was a Cowboy fan, Eagle fan, Cincinnati Bengals.
That's your
I think that was about it. Yeah. So that's how I roll with T.O.
You know, the true sign that Chris is a heavy duty NBA insider. You notice his phone's not in his pocket. It's right here, just in case a text from Portland or Miami comes. We could just stop everything and hey, hold it. If Chris leaves the stage, check your Twitter account because something's probably going down.
Philly too. You know, you got Dame and then you got James Harden out there. So
James Harden ain't getting traded.
Well. See, that's the thing.
You want to break news?
This is what I would say. Real? This is what I would say about that. I do believe James Harden. Well, hold on. If there's anybody that can sabotage something going into camp, it's James Harden.
Yeah.
So he's one guy. Dame, if he's not traded by camp, I expect Dame to be there day one of training camp. I don't know that to be the case with James Harden. So for that, I still got to have my antennas up for him.
So let's stay with that for a minute because Casey and I were talking about this like a day or so ago. What does that look like? Like if Dame, because I was like I feel like Dame is gonna show up, but like how do you handle that? Like if you're Portland, if you're Dame Lillard, what's that look like?
I think you have to wonder if Portland even wants him to show up right now. There's been no communication between the Blazers, Miami. And there's really been no communication between the Blazers and Damian Lillard's representation. So we don't know what's going to happen. But what I will say to this, remember there used to be a scenario where a player that a team was going to trade, they could say before, stay home.
Yeah.
Stay home until we find you a trade destination. Right. Well, with the new rules on not resting healthy players, that's no longer an option. So I would think that something has to get taken care of ideally before training camp starts, not just to not have that circus, but for sure before the regular season starts, because you can't sit and help the star player down when he's ready to go.
Yeah, I didn't even think about that. I didn't compute that at all.
Yeah. So that's something that Portland, this is their thing. They don't want to be bullied into anything. The fact that Damian Lillard requested a trade to Miami, they feel like it messed up their leverage, right? Yeah. And so Portland could, under the old protocol, not rest the star players, they could say, listen, we won't be bullied. We're going to take our time and get the best deal. Well, now time is now on your side because you can't rest a healthy star player. Right. So that's why I say I think something's going to get done. Preferably before training camp, but definitely before the season starts.
So, like one of the things that we've talked about a lot during the offseason with this Dame Lillard situation is Dame said it a number of different times. I've agreed. Everybody like, Dame is terrible at this request and trade thing. Like he just don't know how to do it. He's not wired that way, right? Yeah. And I feel like the way he's wired, Chris, is he came at this like, yo, Portland, I've been good to you for 10, 11, 12 years, however long he's been there. I gave you guys the best I had. Yeah. I want to leave. And out of respect, you guys should take care of me. Like, if I say I want to go to Miami, like, do that. Because I've been there for you guys. Like, I've exhausted every possibility. Do that. And he's like, why aren't they just doing what I'm asking them to do? Like, why does it have to be this back and forth? I understand to a certain degree Portland saying, hey, we want to get the most out of this trade. But this is just me from a long way. I feel like Dame and representation is like, man, just do right by me. Like, I want to go to Miami, like, do right by me. I've done right by you for X amount of years.
I think there's a couple of things at play. I think number one is Miami doesn't have the assets that Portland desires. So had he requested a team to say Miami, say it was still Miami, but they had like young prospects and attractive first round picks that Portland coveted, then I think this deal gets done a long time ago. The fact that they don't have the assets, and number two, again, I think it does have something to do with the whole bullying thing. They don't want to feel bullied into making a move. Right. And to your point, I mean, I covered Dame his whole career. I was there as a beat writer when he came in as a rookie, and he gave everything to the organization, to the point where it was like guys like Kevin Garnett was calling Dame over the last couple of years and be like, hey, bro, I had to make a move eventually. You know what I mean? I was going to sit there and rot in Minnesota, and it was the best move that I made. And he told him, like, he wished he would have made that move sooner. Right. And I think, to your point, I think that's what a lot of people felt Dame should have did, was make that move earlier. Yeah. But he really wanted to be there. Like, he still really does want to be there. He just feels like him and the organization are not on the same page.
You think Portland just doesn't? Does Portland want to trade Dame Lillard? Like, take the Miami part out of the equation.
Right now?
Yeah, do they want to trade him?
I think right now, yes.
Okay.
I think they do right now. I don't think they're not going to say it, but the things that I'm hearing and the way things are going on behind the scenes, I think they do want to trade.
Did this change when they got the number 2 pick?
No, I think this changed when Dame requested the trade.
So, but that's a great like point. How much did change when they got the number 2 pick? Because there's speculation. I don't know, like, what's real and what's not. Dame was told
I'll
something.
tell you what's real. Go ahead.
All right.
So it didn't change necessarily because they got the number 2 pick. It changed with what they did with the number 2 pick when they drafted Scoot Henderson. So once that happened, Dame was under the assumption, not an assumption, he was told various meetings with management, ownership, that they're going to do everything they can to put a veteran squad around him to compete to win now. And that included inserting that number 2 pick in potential deals. And I'm not just telling you this from stuff that's behind the scenes. This is something that the general manager, Joe Cronin, has said publicly time and time again within the last 7-8 months. So that's what the impression Dame was under, that they're going to do that. And so you take the number 2 pick, which is still fine. Scoot Henderson is the best prospect at that spot. I think it was number 3 pick.
Yeah, because Brandon Miller went.
Number 2, Charlotte, number 3 pick. So you don't knock that, but then you say you're keeping the pick. That takes it to another level. Okay, so Dame is rolling with the punches. I'm giving you the timeline. Dame is rolling with the punches. So he has a meeting with the team right after that, a couple of days after the draft. It's about an hour, 2-hour meeting with the general manager, Joe Cronin. And basically he says, I'm going to give you a week, the week leading up to free agency, to make some moves, to show me that you're serious. Okay, you're keeping Scoot? All right, fine. Let's see what we can do. Nothing happens that week leading up to free agency, which leads to him requesting a trade.
I wonder if that timeline presented that way changes the way some people feel about this. Because there are people who are like, this is foul on Dame's part. I don't feel like it's foul. I feel like it's what Casey just said. I think Dame is bad at this, which isn't a bad thing. I think Dame's probably a really good dude, and this isn't his nature.
Yeah,
and not. I think Portland's bad at this because Portland hasn't experienced this before with a player like Dame, and everybody has gone about this the wrong way. And I've kind of started to lean to the side. It's not an issue of trading Dame Lillard. It's an issue of they can't get what they want from Miami. We could talk about bullying and all that different. I completely understand that. But if Miami has something they wanted, you can bully me right into that because Portland, I feel like, has an idea of where they're going. And if they can accelerate that by getting a guy or two who can play and shipping Dame off, and then, of course, you get the draft assets in return, like they're good with that.
Yeah,
they just can't get it from Miami. And that's the part that makes Dame unhappy, and that's the part that makes this whole thing complicated.
Makes it complicated, but let's remember this. Portland is refusing to talk to Miami. Miami understands that they don't have the assets, but they want to know, hey, Portland, we'll involve a third or a fourth team, but communicate with us and let us know what you are looking for. It hasn't gotten to that stage.
Has there been a single discussion between the two teams?
The last discussion, I spoke with somebody on the Heat side 3 days ago. The last discussion, they talked during Summer League, and it was brief. And that was Summer League when Miami was trying to set up some one-on-one time in person. That never materialized. That was the last conversation they had.
Some one-on-one time with Portland?
Yes,
or with
Portland.
Dame? Okay.
With Portland. And so that's been it. My wife, baby, we gave you a shout out earlier. They shouted you out. My wife, the owner of Charlene's Beauty Supply over there. Elk Grove. Come through and see her boo. So we're going to grab some lunch after here, man. I haven't been, well, I've been in the casino, but I haven't been in this.
17 different bars and restaurants.
This is fine. And if you want to, you can go over to SR Prime.
SR Prime is Chris Haynes. That's Chris Haynes style. That's Chris Haynes style right there.
That's the spot right
It's a little bit too early for that, but yeah.
Oh, it's never. Oh, trust me,
too early
it'll be
for a
worth
steak,
it.
man.
Just ask for a smoky old fashioned. Take care of that, and you'll be ready for a steak. Yeah. You'll be ready.
I'll take your word.
So this is all, and this is why you're the best in the game, because this is kind of flying in the face of what the general public think. They're just like, oh, Dame is bullying Portland and Portland. Well, Portland, this is something I said a long time ago. I don't feel like, I think Miami needs to do something to meet Portland in the middle, and I think Portland needs to do something to meet Miami in the middle. And it feels like Miami's willing, but Portland, to your point of not wanting to be bullied, is just like, nah, we're not interested in that at all right now.
And then it's the Pat Riley effect, right? His counterparts hate the narrative that Pat just fleeces everybody. Like he just dominates these trades and he gets the best of it. You know, this is Joe Cronin, who's going into his second year. I believe it's his second year as full-time general manager. So he doesn't want that on his reputation. So I understand. And at the end of the day, like, I get both sides. I do want things to work out for both sides. I would love to see Dame in a winning situation where he actually has the opportunity to win some. That's something I want to ask you too about. Like, I ain't calling nobody out, but I've been seeing, I go on social media and I see people talk about Dame said he doesn't want to join a super team. But that's exactly what he's trying to do and going to Miami. I'm like, when did Miami become a super team? Like, even though Miami has been to the finals over twice in the last
5 years,
five years or so, 4 or 5 years, nobody picked Miami to get there.
Either time.
Nobody picked them. Like, Jimmy is a dog, but still, like, if you look at how they come up short, they still lack that killer guy. Somebody get their shot when they want. This is not a KD going to Golden State type situation. You know what I mean? That's not a juggernaut team over there. I think he fits well over there, and he wants a chance to win. That's the only thing.
With all due respect to one of the greats in Jimmy Butler, to Bam Adebayo, Dame Lillard goes to Miami. He's instantly the best player.
He's instantly the best player.
So that's not like
the ball's going to him.
Yeah.
At the close the game. So it's night and day compared to the other scenarios where a star player has joined a so-called super team. Miami Heat is not a super team. Sorry, I just had to go on a tangent right there. My bad.
That's why I had them losing in the second round with Dame Lillard. I was like, you said, like, y'all be right. Y'all act like you thought Miami was going to be there. Miami overachieved to get where they were, and now all of a sudden they're going to go right back there. You added Dame Lillard. No, they're going to come back down to earth a little bit. Dame's going to be great, but they're going to lose in the second round.
That's a finals contending team if Dame is there.
Sure, but they're not better than Boston.
I think it gives them a shot, and I won't argue with you there, but it gives him a better chance that he's ever had.
Oh, no doubt.
For his career.
No doubt.
That's all I'm saying.
That's the other weird dynamic with Portland is, Portland's been good, but I don't know that they've ever, I don't feel like he underachieved or like they've missed the boat or missed the window. Like, they talk like they clown Russell Westbrook for losing in the first round of the playoffs, and it's like, Dame's lost in the first round of the playoffs almost as many times, but that's the makeup of those two teams. Like, those weren't finals contending teams that missed out, and that's probably part of the crux of the frustration with Dame.
Dame hasn't played with an all-star since LaMarcus Aldridge left. Just think about that.
which is crazy.
How far can you go?
CJ's not an all-star.
He's not an
Right.
all-star.
Yeah, he's not an all-star.
He hasn't played. So how far can you go with that dynamic? So again, 11 years in, something's going to fold, and I haven't said much because there's just haven't been a lot of things going on behind the scenes. But I can say right now, like, I don't know that Portland wants him back right now. I think they're going to move on. And with the season approaching, with training camp approaching, and there've been no talks whatsoever with the Miami Heat, there's a very good chance he could be traded elsewhere. And if he is, how would that look? How would the Portland Trailblazers look in that stance?
A little petty.
A lot of people would agree with you. Yeah. Others will say Portland made the right move by them. But I know from a player standpoint, they're not going to look at that in glowing fashion.
But here's the thing, like, perception that can't matter. Like, if Portland has to make a deal, I worry more from Dame's perspective. Like, what's Dame doing? I'm sure you can address that. But, like, Portland can't worry about that. If Portland looks like the bad guys to NBA fans, so be it. Portland looks like the bad guy to NBA players, like, so be it. I'm sorry. What free agents are they signing? Yeah, when are they at the top of the Chris Haynes alerts that drop on the start of free agency?
But Dame, here's where the caveat comes, in my opinion. There, if they didn't even try with Miami, that's why.
I completely agree. Yeah. That's problematic. If they didn't even talk to Miami, that's problematic. But my rebuttal to that would be, what could they offer us? Like, I know what they have now, and your point is, get the third team involved.
Get the third team. That's what Miami knows. This is it would not be a trade 1-for-1, team for team.
Right.
It would have to involve a third team, possibly even a fourth team. Miami just wants to know, what is it going to take?
They want to talk.
That's it.
They want to talk.
Man, we got Chris Haynes, NBA insider, the best in the game right now, on D-Lo and KC. We mentioned James a little bit. James is interesting in his own right, because one of the things that me and Damian talk about a lot is James wants out of Philadelphia. He wants this, he wants that. But from our perspective, it's unclear who even wants James. And I know that sounds disrespectful because he is a Hall of Famer, but at this point in his career, and what it would take, what Daryl Morey would probably ask in return, who's willing to give up anything close to that for James Harden? Like, it feels like he's kind of stuck.
Yeah, the only team that we really heard of significance that's been linked to him has been the Los Angeles Clippers. The Clippers were hoping to get something done. And it was traction. Like, when the trade request got out there early, I know the Clippers are working the phones hard and trying to see what they can do.
Didn't they just sign a point guard too?
The Clippers?
They signed somebody, and it's like, well, damn. I don't know if I forgot who it was, man, but they signed somebody.
Yeah, I don't.
A little bit after free agency.
Yeah, that wouldn't change anything with pertaining to James, but that's
why. Russ, wasn't it Russ?
It was Russ, and I think they got it. It was Russ for sure.
It was Russ, but they were going to keep Russ anyways.
Well, then isn't that the situation with, like, Russ and James? Maybe that's what it was.
Because
they're not the best of friends, right?
I didn't hear that. Tell me what you know.
I just heard the situation in Houston was, James. Yeah. James,
I don't
much
think
like
Russell
everybody
Westbrook.
else.
Like, I know I'm a fan, but I don't think Russell Westbrook tolerates players who don't work hard. And I think the perception of James Harden is that he doesn't work hard. And I don't think Russell Westbrook tolerates that.
Okay.
And he probably let him know. I don't know this. You would know better than I do, but it just on the surface, that's what it would look like to me.
Yeah, I still think the Clippers still want to make that play in that move. Philly is taking a hard stance because, to your point, there aren't a lot of shooters out there right now for this stage in his career. And then, I mean, even with his story, like, there's a ton of stuff I wish I can report and say right now that I can get out there. There's a lot that's happened to get to this point to where James is requested trade. Like, it's not all like you think most people think they know, like, what really led to this. Nah, like, it's
James just wakes up in China one day and says, Daryl Morey's a liar. I repeat. He's a liar.
I think what it had to have happened for him to, I've never ever heard of a player do that before. Like, just kill his general manager, like the team he's on right now. I've never
in front of a bunch of kids.
And that's in front of, and that's why I say.
They said, we just wanted an autograph, James. What are you talking about?
And that's why I say, if there's any star player out there with the potential to cause straight chaos at training camp, at media day,
Right.
is James Harden.
So it goes back to you talking about the Clippers. Why would they want this? Why would they willingly get involved in this?
The Clippers want to win. They are desperate to win.
I'm sorry.
They are
I
desperate
ain't
to
gonna do
win.
it.
No,
I'm not gonna
go ahead.
Where's Sky River
I'm sorry,
Casino?
why has
We
James
got
Harden
Chris-
never won? Like, what are we doing?
I hear you. I hear you.
He's terrible when it
Yeah.
matters the most every year. Shame
I
on
hear you.
Philadelphia for thinking it would be different.
Hey.
Shame on Los Angeles if they're engaging
I
in
love when
this.
Dame gets worked
Shame
up
on
about
him.
this.
Shame on him. Hey, listen.
He be going in on James.
I hear you. I see. I'm feeling it right now. But listen, James Harden is still a tremendous talent, and you surround him. This is the hope. You got to think. Walk with me. This is the hope. You surround him with veteran guys, Kawhi Leonard, Paul George over there, and you hope that Ty Lue, don't dismiss Ty Lue.
I love
we
Ty
love
Lue.
Ty Lue.
One of the best player coaches out there, one of the best coaches period in the game. You would think that would put an emphasis on James to go out there and give his all for the 82 game season.
You have an
No
easier
bullshit.
time selling me an S-curl kit than this
I
story.
could see it wasn't working. I
Yeah,
tried.
yeah.
I tried. I
I'm
was
going over to
working.
Charlene's to get some pink lotion and an S-curl kit because this ain't working.
We got that for you, David.
I know
We got
you
that
do.
for
That's why I said
Yeah,
it.
I tried.
I'm more of a pattern guy though,
Yeah,
so I'll go there and
that's
get my pattern,
There
my
you go.
shampoo.
So here's the other question about the Clippers, and you talk about their desperation. Maybe that would be the reason why they would get James Harden. Is this, in your opinion, is this a last-ditch effort for this incarnation of the Clippers? Like, if it don't work this year, are they like, we got to get rid of Paul or Kawhi or both or something? Is this like, this is it?
It very well could be. And then think about that. They're going to start playing in that new arena, Intuit Dome, next season.
Yeah.
And they would like, just think about this. So this was always in the plan for years. Walk into this arena, have this big fanfare because they're on a mission to try to take over Los Angeles. It's a long mission.
It's a failing mission, and it's never going to work, but more power to them.
That's their mission.
Yeah.
But they always thought, at minimum, they would be walking into that dome with at least one championship. That has not happened. So they will go. Remember the Golden State Warriors when they opened the Chase Center? They thought they were going to open it with like the big four still there, KD, Steph, and like just shit just went. Excuse me, I forgot it's a radio, not a podcast. My bad. You dump that. You dump it. My bad.
Mind your business. Everyone at this table, just mind your business. Charlie got it. Charlie got it.
baby.
Round of applause for Charlie.
My
Baby,
bad.
let's go.
My bad. It's a podcast feel up here, man. My
Hey,
bad.
after 4 o'clock, you can say what you got to say.
My bad. But when the Golden State Warriors, it was a letdown to go into Chase Center. KD was gone. Klay Thompson had that injury, and they suffered for a minute. The tennis wasn't there like they expected. The Clippers don't want to have that happen. So I do think if they fail, we could see a new team. But I still think they're going to go into it with a robust team, where it's going to give them a chance to try to win, because they want to sell out that arena.
Yeah, that thing looks phenomenal too.
Oh, it looks good.
Like it's going to be crazy.
I was talking to Steve Ballmer about it, and I was like,
That's a hell of a line
know,
right
I
there.
thought the
Ed.
same thing.
That's a hell of a line right there.
Steve Ballmer, owner of the Clippers, I was asking him, I said, what's the main attraction of this arena? He said the toilets. We got more toilets than any arena in the country right there. I'm like, okay, all right.
Was he holding your thigh while he was doing it?
Yeah, you gotta watch out. You gotta watch out with Ball.
Hey, he's intense, man. He's intense, man. It
But
don't take much.
he loves his team though.
Oh, he
Like
does.
that's like you want your owner to feel that
Oh,
way
for sure.
about what they present.
And he's willing to do whatever it takes, money wise. Like
sure.
money is not an issue.
So where is like the Kawhi Leonard, Paul George aspect of this? Because aren't one or both of them due for extensions?
So Kawhi could have got an extension this summer,
Okay.
and I think Paul could have got it.
I think September, right?
September. Okay, yeah, around. I don't see an extension being done right now.
Either one of them.
Either one. I think they got to wait to see how it plays out in the regular season. Maybe an in-season extension if they're both playing well, playing healthy. Because this.
So they meaning the Clippers, or they meaning Paul and Kawhi?
The Clippers.
Okay.
The Clippers. You got to see, like they haven't been healthy. I mean, it's you can't give a long-term extension to guys that you don't know if you're going to be able to count on. And this is why I love Ty Lue. Ty Lue, he was on our podcast like 2 weeks ago, but he said it on a podcast prior, and I forgot the pod he was on. But he talked about how they need to place more emphasis on the regular season. Talking about Kawhi, Paul George, and everybody else. And for him to say that publicly, that was just alarming to me. And nobody really not challenged him. Nobody came with a rebuttal. Like, so when he came on my pod, I said, hey, Ty, I get what you were saying, but can you explain and elaborate? Like, what is it that you guys were doing during the regular season that you're saying that you're not going to do moving forward? Yeah. He was like, listen, I wasn't calling a shot particularly out Kawhi and Paul George. You know, he put that out there. But he said, listen, we got to battle through some injuries. Like, there's some nagging injuries that can be played through. Or maybe we take a load off during practice, but you play it during the game. You know what I'm saying? So that was a public minor call out on two of the best players. And you don't see that happen on a team that has Kawhi Leonard. Right. So, but I bring that up to say how much emphasis they're placing on the regular season. And I think they're applying pressure to Paul and Kawhi to play through whatever it is. If it's not an injury that's significant, play through whatever it is. Let's give ourselves a chance to try to be competitive come postseason.
Yeah. The time is now for them, man. Or some people believe the time's already passed, but I still believe in a healthy Kawhi and a healthy Paul George. Paul George is my guy. So
MVP last year.
Yeah, I did pick him to be MVP.
Kenny Caraway's world.
I did predict him to be MVP. Fell short. I might do it again this year. Paul George, that's my guy, man. I like Paul George.
Yeah, I mean, but look, the talent is always there. The numbers are going to be there. But is the games played going to be there? So that's the thing.
Yeah, for sure.
Is there a team that you're super hyped to see this year?
I can't say super hyped because I don't think any team has done anything to like catapult themselves up to another level. I like the moves the Sacramento Kings made, so I'm intrigued to see what this. They should be deeper. Like on paper, they're deeper than they were last year, but paper and actual production doesn't sometimes work out. I want to see how Chris Paul is going to mesh over there with Golden State.
That's gonna be
you know what I mean? Like that's
crazy.
That's what I want to see. Also with the Phoenix Suns going all out, bringing in Bradley Beal. Didn't take much to get him. With that no trade clause definitely helps facilitate that. Yeah. But they really don't have a point guard. Bradley Beal is going to go into camp as the starting point guard. And I know Bradley Beal can handle the ball. But y'all know it's different from actual playing that point guard position.
Point guards are born that made.
Yeah, you can't just throw a guy in at that position. And, there's a lot that goes on. And I'm not saying that Brad can't handle it. I don't know. But that's definitely something I'm looking into. The East, in Boston, they got what's the Porzingis. Yeah. They got Porzingis out there. They traded Marcus Smart, and so they're opening up more minutes for Brogdon and Derek White.
Who they tried to trade like an hour earlier. They tried to trade Malcolm Brogdon an hour earlier. Now all of a sudden they're looking for more minutes.
Yeah, that's the thing. You got to pass those physicals right there. But but again, even with all the moves, Lakers had a good offseason, but still, there's not a team that I felt like just took a tremendous leap up. Yeah, I think it's still solid, and it's parity. Yeah. So that's what I want to say.
I just want to double check, pull the curtain. We rocking?
Yeah, we riding.
Okay,
yeah.
Cool. Because I wanted to ask you, and this is going to take maybe a little in-depth insight about it. What's up with Giannis, man? What's up with Giannis? These are the last days of Giannis in Milwaukee. I personally think it is, and I think there's nothing wrong with that. He's done his job, but I think these are the last days of Giannis in Milwaukee.
Y'all know Giannis is like my cousin. Do y'all know that?
Well, I mean, y'all got connections. The 559. We out there.
Yeah. So his fiance is my cousin.
Okay.
She's from Fresno.
Yeah.
So they just congratulated them. They just had their third child.
They used to trip me out because I got people in Fresno too.
Yeah.
And they would hit up my fiance and they'd say, hey, I just saw Giannis Antetokounmpo in Target. They were like, what is he doing in Fresno? Yeah. This was before everybody really knew what it was. But he'd just be walking around Fresno all the time.
I had that call too. It was like six years ago. Yeah. My dad calls me. hey, you know the Greek Freak is here at my high school? I'm like, what? I'm like, my dad, like, sometimes he reads stuff and it's not legitimate news outlet. So I just dismissed. I'm like, what you talking about? And later on, I find out it's my cousin. I'm like, oh, wow. But he's definitely planting seeds. Definitely planting seeds, trying to get the attention. There's no other way to put it. I mean, that's blatantly what he's doing, trying to get the attention of management, ownership, that he would just not stay idle and just, he's not in this situation. He's not in a Portland situation. Most people would say Dame is just, loose terms will say he was rotten in Portland. Giannis has a championship. Like, they've been competitive every year. They won the top teams in the East and the NBA for the last, I don't know, handful of years. But he wants more. He's not complacent. And so I have to give him that. You know what? One thing I like about Giannis is his growth, because he came into the league being a quiet guy, real humble. He's still humble, but now he's actually telling you what he wants. You know what I mean? He's putting it all out there. And I'm going to tell you this. So Giannis they got eliminated from the playoffs, and he was spending time with my cousin, my family in Fresno. So I got a call from my boy who was at the barbershop. This is one of the barbershops in the hood where we go to a lot. And he was like, Greek Freak is here. I'm like, oh, is that right? Okay, that's cool. He was like, no, he's here and he's telling us everything. I'm like, what you mean he's telling us everything? He's telling us who he likes. He's telling us what teams that he would go play for if he did leave. Like, he's just like letting loose. And I'm like, is that right? And I said, there any phones out? Everybody got any phones? Say, nah, no phones. Like, we just like, we're listening. So I wish I could tell y'all some of the stuff that he was saying at the play. But I will say this. Somebody asked him if there was a player that he hasn't played with that he would love to play with. He said Damian Lillard. And so, and that's the problem that Dame has always had in Portland. Not to go back to Dame, but people want to play with Dame. They just don't want to play with Dame in Portland.
Yeah.
That's the difference.
I was going to throw up because I thought you were going to say Steph.
Nah, Steph. So,
Hey,
this is what I
Sacramento
will
close
say.
to the Fresno
But
to the Bay
that's
Area.
what I will say.
Think by like 3 miles.
If Giannis did leave and if it was fully under his control, I would be highly surprised if it was if the team that he went to was outside of California. He loves California that much.
Okay.
Come on, man.
Just throwing that out.
Come
there.
on, he needed. Come on, man. Come to tell cousins.
Just throwing that out there.
Tell cousins. You can stay next to me, cuz. That's what you can tell him. You can stay next to me.
Have you ever had a story and you knew you had it, but you had to sit on it?
All the time.
What's the biggest one that you had to sit on?
I mean, it happens a lot. The biggest one.
I'll give you one. Well, we knew Coach K was retiring, and we knew it for a long time.
Yeah.
But the connection of dots would have been far too easy.
Yeah.
So I told him, hey, you won't believe what I heard. What I heard, that we just couldn't do anything with it.
Yeah.
That would have been like career changing.
Yeah.
But it like
To get that
we couldn't do
news.
anything
For
with
sure.
it. So sometimes you find stuff out and you just got to sit on it.
So let me give you a little insight on news breaking and how you get sources and how you have to protect your source and be trustworthy to your source. So that happens all the time. I can't think of one in particular, but it happens all the time.
Sure.
But say a player gave me some big news, right? And he said, Chris, I'm giving this to you, but you can't report it, but I'm giving it to you so it's just on your radar, right? And so that's the only way. It can be a player, an agent, an owner. That's the only way that I got that information. Right. So I gotta stay true to that source. Right. Now, somebody else may get that information, but they got it from somewhere else. And I'm like, damn, they got it out. I had it, but I couldn't. Like if I
Couldn't
go,
do anything with
I
it.
waste the source.
Right.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Right. He ain't gonna tell you nothing no
yeah,
more.
He can't. Yeah, no. Now, if I got it, now the source, most time the source will tell you. If you get it through somebody else, cool. But if it's just me, you can't do anything with it. And it happens to me a lot, but at the same time, I got value relationships because they know I'm not going to burn them. You know what I mean? And 9 times out of 10, it comes back around in my favor down the road. So yeah, it happens a lot.
So let me ask you a question. Was Draymond ever leaving the Warriors? Was it ever like real, like he might leave?
I didn't think he was when the offseason hit. But during the regular season, yeah, I thought so. I mean, the Jordan Poole stuff, it was awkward for the Warriors the whole season. Like, it was awkward. And I love Dre, that's my dude, but Dre kept talking about the Jordan Poole situation all throughout the regular season. Like,
after I punched Jordan Poole, it was hard for me to be a leader.
He kept going.
Sir, this is January. Yeah. Why are we talking?
The man did a TNT special on it.
Hey, he kept going. It was awkward. Like, and so, they gave Jordan Poole that extension, a nice extension. So it was looking like this was Draymond's last hurrah there. But Jordan didn't have the best season. And I think a lot of people with the Warriors, there would be times, look, Jordan's a good kid. There'd be times where he wasn't in the huddle and certain things like, and so some people saw that and didn't like it. But ultimately, I feel like, Draymond, he's the heart, he's the glue. Defensively for that team, he does so much, even offensively. Draymond called. You don't think so?
I mean, is Steph Curry dead?
Hey,
is Steph Curry not?
Listen.
Did he get traded? Are you breaking news that he got traded? Because that's the guy.
I hear you. That is the guy. But Draymond, even on offense, he probably is the stick that stirs that drink that makes it go on offense too. Like, you can't dismiss Draymond on the offensive end. Hey, Draymond, that's one thing. Dre is a smart player. He's a smart player. Like, it really takes you really analyzing and dissecting his game to get his true value. He's not going to work for every team. But for certain teams that have certain pieces that can make it go, Draymond will help you dearly.
Let's stay with the Warriors for a minute. There's reports that they're adding Dwight Howard to that mix. And you brought up a few minutes ago the Chris Paul situation. I don't think this works. I don't think it works with Chris Paul and Draymond Green. I don't care how many workout videos they're doing together. And inserting Dwight Howard into the equation is certainly an interesting next step after doing that.
Yeah, I don't know that it's not final yet. The intel I talked to, they said they're just evaluating right now. So I don't know if this is going to happen with Dwight, but he is supposed to be starting to work out with Draymond and Chris Paul in LA this week. With that being said, with Chris Paul, what they're hoping to get from him is something they've been missing since Sean Livingston retired. To have somebody come in off the bench, be the change of pace guy. Because with the Warriors, they just zooming. They all over the, pacing the floor. Chris Paul settles things down. He's like that grown up in the room. And that's what Sean Livingston was. And they're hoping that Chris Paul can kind of bring out the best of, what's the youngster?
Oh, Kuminga.
Kuminga. And so that's what they have. Now, from what we're hearing, Chris Paul will start, but he will kind of come out early to come in with that second unit. You know what I mean? Because Chris Paul's never came off the bench at all in his NBA career. I think they respect him that much to not have him do that, at least early on. But it's worth a try. It's worth a shot.
Well, what'd you say earlier? On paper, it works.
No, I don't even know on paper it works.
Well,
it's interesting. Like, if you look at it on paper, you're like, I don't know. But if Chris Paul is a smart guy, I think he might be able to figure it out. Steve Kerr is a smart dude, may be able to figure it out. Maybe they got something.
I think Chris Paul is incredibly intelligent. He'd be able to figure it out without Draymond in his face all day. Yeah, that's what I think.
Hold on. All right, hold on. Let me ask you this. Is Draymond Green a future Hall of Famer?
No.
No, he's going to the Hall of Fame.
No, he is going.
Yeah, he's going.
I took that question differently.
Right. He's going to the Hall of Fame.
He's going. Is he a Hall of Famer? No, absolutely not. He's a great ball player.
I think he has a great case.
Yeah, he went and got another Olympic. He's ready to sign
deal.
up for Paris to make sure he gets 3 gold medals. He can't keep him out. 3 gold medals. See, look at hey, you know as well as I do, part of the reason he went to those last Olympics to get that gold medal was because it strengthens his Hall of Fame case.
You think so? But hold on. You know you have to be invited. You can't just show up and they put you on the team.
Well, yeah, that is only like slightly true. You know how it's not that hard to get on an Olympic
It's only
team
12
anymore.
spots. There's only 12 spots.
Okay, and how many guys say no? Especially to the 2020 Olympics that took place in 2021.
Hey, Draymond.
They didn't have no problem. Hey, let's run down this list. Find someone to bring Draymond in. And to be fair,
that's how they did it. That's how he got the announcement. I'll bring Draymond in.
To be fair, I was told from people who were in Tokyo, what you just said, he did with that team what maybe one or two players in the entire world can do. Admittedly, my basketball IQ isn't that advanced. I don't see it. I don't get it. I don't understand it. All I see is a dude who is loud, obnoxious, jumps on DeMontis Sabonis' chest, goes Hulkamania in front of Adam Silver, and then is surprised he gets thrown out.
They gave him a standing O.
I'm not saying he's not a good basketball player. I understand he's a good basketball player, but he's the smartest player we've ever seen. Man, stop it.
And here's the thing, Chris, this is what I say. Everything that you say about him is true, but he's not that. Like, if Steph ain't there, he's not that. He's not that. Like,
how many titles do the Warriors win if he's not there?
Is Steph and them that without Draymond?
I'll tell you this. Steph, KD, and Clay, yes. They're winning a championship.
But KD's not coming if Draymond's not there, though.
Okay, there's that. He's a good recruiter. That'll make him a Hall of Famer.
I'm going to say this.
He's a great recruiter.
I'm going to say this. So I'm stepping into my 13th and 14th year covering the NBA. Draymond, I think, is the best defender I've seen during that time.
That's fair. I would say like a Kawhi Leonard. But I remember I was talking to our guy, Marcus Thompson. He was like, if you're talking on ball, yeah, Kawhi. But if you're talking like just orchestrating
the defense,
I respect that.
That free safety mentality that he has back there where he can tell everybody where to be, where to go. He does what LeBron does on offense. LeBron does on defense too. But, where he know the play before it happened. Draymond's like that on the defense.
I respect that.
And he can come out and switch on whatever. And I remember, check this out, guys. I'm sorry, I'm going on a tangent. But Draymond said this to me one time. It was one of those years where Rudy Gobert got Defensive Player of the Year. I
don't know why Gobert got the Player of the Year.
And this is before he said it publicly. He told me this privately, and it stuck with me since then. Years ago, he was like, "Don't you think a Defensive Player of the Year is supposed to be good enough on D where there's not a matchup on the floor that he can't stay out there and guard?"
Nah, I got you.
And he was like, if you're a Defensive Player of the Year, you shouldn't be a liability at any point. There's no assignment there. I mean, there's no starting five out there that you're a detriment to your team.
Right.
He says, so with Rudy, put him in pick and roll, get him on a guard, you're going to attack him. Put him on the outside. You're going to, you know what I mean? So he was like, so that's when I really started looking at it different. And again, this is before he said it publicly. He was telling me privately, he was like, look, y'all got to start looking at guys who actually can play. It doesn't matter the lineup, doesn't matter the scheme. They're going to be out. You're not taking Drew Holiday out under any circumstance, period. You're not taking Draymond out of any circumstance. A Rudy Gobert, yeah, you are.
We've seen him get played off.
Yeah, we've seen it. And so it made me think about that a little bit differently. And I think people have come to see that now is that, and I'm not taking anything away from bigs because for the most part, history tells you that they dominate that award. But now I think you're starting to see people kind of be a little bit more educated on about, okay, how can we really assess who's a good defender? And somebody like Draymond, somebody like Drew Holiday, players for years have told us Drew Holiday is one of the best, if not the best guard defenders out there. But he doesn't lead the league in steals. He's not getting blocks. You know what I mean? Because those are easy stats to look at to try to judge. But really what defense is stopping your man from scoring. Like there should be a stat. And it shouldn't be an advanced stat. This should be a regular stat. What are you holding your opponents to in field goal percentage? Like, that should be a regular stat. Drew Holiday is holding his opponents to 35% field goal percentage. Okay, now we can see because it's not a steal because steals don't mean defense because a lot of times guys gamble
Right.
for steals. They don't get it, and they put their team.
Allen Iverson led the league in steals.
Exactly.
Right.
Steph led the league in steals, and you don't put him up there as a top defender.
Right.
So it should be more of an eye test. But the problem is everybody can't watch every game of all these 30-something teams.
Owner of the finest beauty supply store in the region.
Yes.
Come check us
Charlene's
out.
Beauty Supply in
Thank
Elk
you.
Grove. We went almost an hour. Charlie probably
Man,
punched every monitor in the room. Chris Haynes, NBA Insider.
indeed.
We
Give it up,
appreciate
Chris
you so
Haynes,
much.
man.
No doubt.
Live from Sky River Casino, CeeLo and K.